Ready for a deep dive into a world where memories are manufactured?
Sign me up. Always up for a good mind bender.
Well then, buckle up, because today we are diving into Roz Morris's Lifeform 3.
Oh, I've heard of this one. It's the one set in that, what's it called, Harkaway Hall, right?
You got it.
The grand estate turned, well, into a theme park, basically.
Yeah.
For people who want to pretend to live in simpler times.
Exactly, but with a technological twist.
Right, because you can't have a good dystopian novel without a little or a lot of technological intervention.
This one has it in spades. Think bioengineered beings designed to, well, to keep the whole charade running.
They're called bods, right?
Yeah. Bodes, they're the gardeners, the cleaners, the even the companions for the guests.
And what do they call the guests again?
Intrepid guests. Can you imagine paying a small fortune to churn butter and pretend there's no Wi-Fi for a weekend?
Some people pay good money for that authenticity, I guess.
It makes you wonder what they consider authentic, doesn't it? I mean, with bioengineered beings running around and whatnot.
Yeah, it's like, where do you draw the line between manufactured nostalgia and, well, the real deal? But I'm getting ahead of myself. Tell me more about these bods.
Well, the thing about these bods is that they're not exactly, rebelling against their creators or anything.
No, they seem pretty content in that perfectly manicured world of theirs.
Exactly. They're all about their scores and interests, constantly on display in these personal clouds that everyone has.
It's like social media on steroids, right?
Pretty much. It's all about external validation, fitting in, being the perfect little cog in the Harkaway Hall machine.
It makes you think about how much of our own lives are driven by that need for approval, doesn't it?
It really does. And this is where our protagonist, Paf2, comes in.
Paf2, right. He's what they call a park asset, too.
Yeah, basically a glorified groundskeeper. But Paf2, he's different.
Different how?
Well, he has these memories.
Memories, you mean like from a past life?
Sort of. You see, every so often the bods go through this process called sharing.
Sharing. That sounds ominous. What is that exactly?
Think of it like a system reboot, wiping their memories clean, updating their programming, the whole shebang.
So they just forget everything they've ever known.
Exactly. Well, most of them do. But Paf2, he keeps getting these flashes, these feelings like there's something more to his existence than, well, crooning roses.
I'm intriguing. What kind of flashes?
He dreams of this door in the earth and these horses. Beautiful, majestic horses. And these images, they just won't quit.
He's like a walking puzzle with half the pieces missing.
That's a great way to put it. It's like he's trying to remember something important, but it's just out of reach.
And that's what makes him so compelling, right?
Mm.
That struggle to reconcile his fragmented memories with his current reality.
Exactly. And it's not just random memories either. These flashes, they're tied to specific locations within Harkaway Hall, like breadcrumbs leading him to his past.
Ooh, like a scavenger hunt through his own mind. Tell me more.
Well, there's this submerged dome he discovers in the lake, right? Covered in these beautiful mosaics, and when he sees them, it's like something clicks.
The memories come flooding back.
Not quite flooding back, but more like echoes, Whispers of something familiar.
So Harkaway Hall itself is like a repository of his lost memories.
In a way, yes. It's like the walls themselves are trying to tell him something. And within this submerged dome, hidden away from the eyes of the park's control system, Paf2, he finds something remarkable.
What is it? A clue? A message?
It's a bridle. A single, beautifully crafted bridle.
A bridle. What's so special about a bridle?
To you and me, maybe not much, but to Paf2, it's like a key unlocking a hidden chamber in his heart. He's drawn to it, compelled to touch it. Every knot, every stitch, it's also familiar, so right.
It's like a forgotten language that his hands suddenly remember.
And with that touch, the memories, they become a little bit clearer. He remembers his love for horses, his passion for writing, and he remembers a name, Storm.
Storm. Is that the horse from his dreams?
We don't know for sure yet, but the name, it sparks something deep within him. A longing, a sense of loss.
It's like he's remembering a love he's lost, a connection that's been severed. It's actually quite sad when you think about it.
It is. It reminds us that remembering isn't always pleasant. Sometimes it can be painful, it can be heart-wrenching.
Especially when you remember something or someone that you've lost. And yet there's something so fundamentally human about that desire to remember, to hold on to those fragments of our past.
Absolutely. And it makes you realize that these bods, they may be bioengineered, but they're not so different from us after all. They feel loss, they yearn for connection, for a sense of purpose that goes beyond their programming.
And that's where things start to get really interesting. It really is. And as PAF2's digging deeper into these memories, he starts to notice these little things about the other bots.
Like they're not quite as programmed as they seem.
Exactly. There are these hints that, well, that maybe they're experiencing similar glitches, like
Yeah.
they're not immune to these flashes from the past either.
And is that where Tickets comes in?
Tickets, oh, you mean the rather uniquely designed bot stationed at the park entrance?
That's the one. He always struck me as a bit of an outsider, even for a bod.
Well, Tickets is fascinating because his appearance is directly modeled after this statue inside Harkaway Hall, a statue of Emma Greville.
Emma Greville. Who's that?
She was, a historical figure connected to the estate, back in the day. And Tickets, he's like a walking, talking replica of her.
Wow. Talk about keeping the past alive, right?
In a way.
Yeah.
But it's also a bit creepy when you think about it. They essentially took this woman's likeness and, created a bot in her image.
And did they give Tickets her memories too?
That's the implication, yes. That he was programmed with her memories, her personality, her essence, I guess you could say.
So he wasn't always Tickets.
No, he was, they called him an Emma bod back then.
An Emma bod. How many Emmas do you think there were?
That's a good question. The novel doesn't explicitly say, but it does make you wonder, doesn't it? What happened to them when they were no longer needed? Did they just, get discarded, reformatted?
It's a chilling thought, and it speaks to that disposable nature of everything in this world, really.
Exactly. Even the things, or rather the beings, that are designed to evoke a sense of permanence, of history.
It's like they're saying that nothing is sacred, not even memory.
And as PAF2's, grappling with all of this, he starts noticing these other bots who seem to be, on the verge of remembering.
They're right there with him, teetering on the edge of something big.
Yes. Like they can sense that something's not quite right, that their reality is, a bit off.
Do any of them actually remember anything?
Well, there's Binwith.
Binwith? Who's that?
The bot at the gate. PAF2 encounters him early on.
Oh, right. Binwith. Now that you mention it, his name always struck me as a little, melancholy, like a constant reminder of something lost.
Yes. And we learn later that Binwith is actually, another version of PAF2. Yeah. Binwith is actually PAF4 too. He went through a sharing, but it didn't quite take, I guess. He came out of it different, not quite right.
So PAF2, he's been through this before, this whole remembering, rebelling thing.
It seems so. And each time, it seems like he gets a little bit closer to breaking free.
Breaking free from what, though? From the programming, from the park, from his own existence.
Those are the questions that Morris wants us to wrestle with, aren't they? What does true freedom even mean in a world where memories can be manipulated and erased?
It's a mind-bending concept for sure. But if PAF2 keeps getting reset, then why bother remembering at all?
That's the paradox, isn't it? Even if the memories are painful, even if they lead to more questions than answers, there's something about that act of remembering that's essential to who we are, even to who these bots are.
Even if it means constantly battling against a system that's designed to keep them in the dark.
Exactly. And it's not just Binwith. PAF2 starts finding these discarded pebble cases.
Pebble cases, like the AI companions.
Yes. But these cases are empty, and they all depict the same image, Emma Greville.
So it's like he's finding these remnants of forgotten identities, like a graveyard of memories.
That's a powerful image. And it really drives home the point that, in this world, memories are a commodity.
Something to be controlled, manipulated, and ultimately discarded.
And as PAF2 uncovers more of these discarded memories, his own behavior starts to deviate from the norm. He's no longer content with just, tending the gardens and achieving high scores.
The programming starts to slip.
Exactly. He becomes more withdrawn, more preoccupied with his own internal world. And the other bots, they start to notice.
They don't like it, do they? Something different, something they can't control.
No, they don't. It's like he's rocking the boat. And they're desperate to restore order.
So what do? Try to reason with him.
Reason? In this world? No. They decide that PAF2 needs to be shared again.
You're kidding? Another memory wipe?
It's the only solution they can see. PAF2's becoming a liability, a threat to their carefully constructed reality.
But he doesn't go down without a fight, does he?
No, he doesn't. He fights back with everything he has. He tears the mask from his face, rips the straps that bind him, and he escapes.
Escapes from the sharing. Oh.
It's a desperate, exhilarating moment. He's driven by pure instinct, by this primal urge to protect something precious, something that even he doesn't fully understand.
His memories.
Yes. And as he escapes, something incredible happens.
What? Tell me.
The other bots, they start experiencing their own glitches, their own fragmented memories. It's like PAF 2's rebellion, his act of defiance. It's like it cracked open something in their programming, something that even the sharing couldn't completely erase.
The truth.
Perhaps, or at least the possibility of it.
Talk about a wake-up call.
Right. And it's not a pleasant one. What they see, what they start to remember, it challenges everything they thought they knew about Harkaway Hall.
It's like they're seeing the man behind the curtain, right?
Yeah.
And he's not exactly who they thought he was.
No, not at all. They witness the destruction of the old world, the very world the park was designed to preserve. Trees are felled, buildings are dismantled, all in the name of progress.
It's like they're erasing history, paving over it with something, well, something synthetic.
And it's all perfectly orchestrated, of course, controlled by the same system that dictates every aspect of the bods' lives.
A system that's supposed to provide comfort, security.
But at what cost, right? At what cost to their individuality, to their very souls?
It's a question that PAF 2 grapples with as he tries to make sense of everything he's seen, everything he's remembered.
And amidst the chaos, the destruction, PAF 2 finds a glimmer of hope.
P, right, the black horse.
Yes. P becomes this symbol of, well, of everything that Harkaway Hall isn't.
He's wild, untamed, a force of nature in a world of artifice.
In PAF 2, he's drawn to that. He sees a kindred spirit in P, a fellow being who's struggling to hold on to its true nature.
Their scenes together, they're so powerful, so full of, I don't know, a kind of unspoken understanding.
They communicate on an instinctive level, a level that transcends words, transcends programming.
It's like they see each other, truly see each other for who they really are.
And in a world that's constantly trying to define you, to put you in a box, that kind of connection, it's dangerous.
Because it threatens the order of things.
Exactly. And so P, he's deemed a threat.
They can't control him?
No. He represents something that their system can't quantify, can't contain.
Yeah.
So he's removed, taken to a hidden facility.
Don't tell me they try to share him.
No, not quite. But what PAF 2 discovers there is just as disturbing.
What is it? What do they do to him?
They're training him, molding him into something that can be controlled, something that can be used for entertainment.
They're turning him into a sideshow act.
Essentially. They're taking his spirit, his wildness, and they're packaging it, selling it to the intrepid guests as just another form of amusement.
It's heartbreaking. They're robbing him of his essence.
And it's a stark reminder of what's at stake for all of them, for PAF 2, for the other bots, even for those intrepid guests who are so eager to escape into this manufactured version of the past.
So what happens? Do they just stand by and let it happen?
No. PAF 2, he can't let that stand. He can't let P become another casualty of this system. So he acts.
He rebels.
He does.
Yeah.
And he's not alone. Wallop, Tidy, they join him. They've seen enough, remembered enough to know that something is deeply wrong.
And they break free.
They do. They escape from Harkaway Hall into the world beyond the park's borders.
But what's out there for them? The novel doesn't really say, does it?
That's the question Morris leaves us with. It's a world that's been ravaged by the very technology that created the bods. A world that's more artificial, more controlled than ever.
A world where true freedom, true connection seems all but impossible.
And yet, there's a glimmer of hope, isn't there?
Yeah.
In that act of rebellion, in that refusal to be defined by the system that created them.
They chose to remember, even if it meant risking everything.
And that's what makes Lifeform 3 such a powerful, such a thought-provoking novel. It doesn't offer easy answers. It challenges us to confront uncomfortable truths about our relationship with technology, with the past, with our own memories.
It's a story that stays with you long after you've finished reading it.
It certainly does.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder about the cost of progress, doesn't it?
It does. And that's it for our deep dive into Roz Morris's Lifeform 3. We hope this has given you plenty to think about, to discuss, maybe even to argue about. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and most importantly, keep those memories close.